might wonder if maybe there's not that much. And of course, that's why they put one in a box with a banana. See if the pigeon could work that out.
I'll work it out, Zay. Alright, so quickly as I can, breaking down more of the symbolism in Zay Frank's videos. This is a short, one of his most recent shorts that he released on his YouTube channel. It's a small clip from a longer video that he published for his True Facts series about pigeons. And he's focusing on this specific scene. Why? Well, a pigeon in a box with a banana. Let's break it down. So I've already said this in a recent blog post and in, I believe, in some recent videos, at least one, where the pigeon and or the dove, they represent the same thing because they are pretty much the same animal. And what they represent is the Holy Spirit and or purity or innocence. This idea of the eternal spirit, eternal soul that we all have that lives on beyond our material flesh bodies. The box that the pigeon is sitting in or standing in represents the material flesh body. It is quite often, so the material world is quite often spoken of, at least in esoteric circles. It's quite often described as being like a box or a cage or a prison or a coffin. This is because it's sort of trapping your soul or your spirit in it and limits your soul or your spirit in certain ways. The banana there up in the top left, that is quite obviously a phallic symbol. I don't think you have to be a genius to work that one out, but what it also represents is the ego. So what he's saying here is when he says, forgive the pigeon, it can be easy when you're trapped in a box with a banana. It can be easy to forget that you know how to fly. So what he's saying is when you are an eternal soul or spirit trapped in a material flesh body, it can be easy to forget your own divinity. At least that's what I make of it. I'm just wondering what you guys make of it. Keep in mind, I will point out to you guys that Zay Frank, I've already made several videos and posts recently pointing out, and I will continue to make more, pointing out more similarities, more ways in which Zay Frank, or hopefully I will continue to make more videos and blog posts explaining to you guys how Zay Frank is representing himself with the Abrasics and or Yaldabaoth and or I forget the name of the Greek crab monster, but let's just say the crab monster. All right. So these things all sort of are the same thing. The Abrasics and Yaldabaoth are Gnostic deities. They are roughly two different faces of the same god. If my interpretations are correct, that's what I've taken away from my reading into those two deities. They are both given credit. So Abrasics and Yaldabaoth are given credit for being creators of the material world, the flesh world, and therefore our flesh bodies. Because so the reason we experience the world the way we do in this physical sense is because of the bodies that we're in. Implying that we would experience this world and existence very differently if we were not trapped in our flesh bodies. So what's sort of responsible for this experience, this human experience, is the Abrasics, is Yaldabaoth. Now, where the crab monster comes in is the crab is quite often used to symbolize an obstacle for the soul or the spirit to get home or get to its goal, which would be like the oversoul or heaven or enlightenment. Some examples would be in The Little Mermaid, Sebastian. It was his job to stop Ariel from becoming a human and going to the surface. In Moana, you had a crab monster there. I forget what his name was, Tamatoa or something. He was an obstacle to Moana. She represented the sort of the pure spirit or soul trying to get home or trying to get to her goal. And then you have the crab monster that attacked Hercules. So one of the stories of Hercules is he's battling the Hydra, the many-headed monster, sort of dragon monster. And as he's battling that monster, a whole other monster comes out to attack him. And it's a crab. It's sort of a big crab that attacks his heel. You can also say that the crab sort of stands for, symbolizes in many ways the material world. You see that particularly with Moana because that monster crab in that story, he's got a bunch of glittering gold material objects on his back, on his shell, to attract the souls down in the fish, which represent the souls, down into his cave so that he can eat them. And so again, the gold and the material glittering gold on his back shows that he represents the material world in many ways. I also in certain previous blog posts, recent blog posts and videos have been explaining to you guys. Just go back and look in my blog at the post that's called the human soul, the human foot, the clown, and the crab monster. So the crab monster can also it represents the heart in Hermetic astrology. So Hermetic astrology is kind of breaking down the human anatomy, the human body, and assigning the zodiac signs to different parts of the body. And the crab or Cancer is assigned to the heart. So it's often used to represent the heart. And I explain how that also ties in with the devil. So I explain how the devil and the crab and the heart are all related. And the devil rules over our passions, therefore rules over the heart. And our heart and our passions, I guess, can get in the way of our enlightenment. So that's sort of the idea there, is your heart, your passions can be an obstacle to your own enlightenment, is what I'm taking from this so far. But please go back and look at the blog posts that I put up recently and some of the videos that go along with them. So yeah, and Ze Frank has repeatedly likened himself or compared himself or represented himself with these deities, with these monster demon deity creatures that stand for the material world, the physical world, that represent an obstacle in the way of the soul or the spirit getting to its goal. So that tells me that Ze Frank is, confirming for me what I've already suspected, which is that he and this network of people that I've been investigating and researching, they put themselves in the way of others trying to reach enlightenment. They are causing problems for people. Why they would do that, I'm not sure. Maybe they're just jerks. But I'm sorry when you see with that, Ze Frank had a celebra duck, a rubber duck that made to look like him, and it also looks very much like the Abrasics. It's doing the same hand gestures as the Abrasics. He released a video about mustelids called Rise of the Kitten Snake. The kitten snake represents Yaldabaoth. He made a video recently about the shrimp, and I already got into how that's, shrimps, crabs, lobsters, crawfish, crustaceans in general. Crustaceans in general They're all used to represent the heart in Hermetic astrology, and also, so then, therefore, again, they are sort of synonymous with the devil, and again, synonymous with this obstacle to enlightenment, and synonymous with Zay, it seems, Zay Frank, and anyone else in his network, like possibly Richard Hart, Tony Robbins, Chris Thompson from Vampire Weekend, Shmuel Asher, Dr. Shmuel Asher, Dr. Schmucky. Just I've already listed lots of my suspects on my blog and spoken about them in videos. Please go back and look at them again. Thank you. And yeah, so yeah, I don't think that he means when he says that the pigeon can forget to fly, can forget that it knows how to fly. I don't think he means like Mary Poppins. I think he probably means it can forget its own divinity. Circling back to the point of this particular scene here, the pigeon and or dove represents the spirit or the soul, the eternal spirit. It's in a box, so it's trapped in the material flesh body with a banana, which is a phallic symbol and represents the ego. So your spirit trapped in your flesh body with an ego can forget its own divinity. It can forget to fly. I'm going to try to just leave it there and keep this one as short as I can. And I actually have another one lined up that I want to make in a couple of minutes. So, all right.